guys, welcome back to Boots and Bounty Homestead. It is fall time and it is time for some pruning. That's no different than doing your trees and doing these blackberry vines. So I did a video a couple years ago in my first years of doing blackberry pruning to these exact vines, these same vines. Now back in that video, these vines were actually in my big garden. You see right here, they were actually in the big garden. And so whenever we moved them out here, we went ahead and put them in these mineral buckets so we'll be able to take them with us whenever we move, because we knew that we would be moving. So these are a little taken over, so we've got to get them pruned back. I'm going to show you how to prune them back for next year's harvest, and then after that they're going to look a little different whenever you guys see us take it to the homestead, because we're going to have to I'm going to actually cut them down to about 3 foot tall, and they may or may not produce next year, but as long as I keep something growing on them, they'll produce the stalk next year for the next year's harvest. So it may be 2 years from now before we get a harvest back on these, and that's okay. But I want to show you guys how to prune blackberries back. So what they do is they make one stalk. Those are what makes the limbs that makes the blackberries. And then while those are growing, it's actually growing the stalk for next year. They're called canes. So as it's producing the next stalk for the next year, you're just going to kind of leave it alone and let it grow up. It'll just be one green stalk as it grows up during the summertime. And then after you get through harvesting and the season is over, you need to go back and prune you're actually going to cut the old stalk down that you just harvested from. And then you may have up to 3 or 4 canes that produce during the summer. You're going to pick either 1 or 2, usually 1, maybe the biggest one, the healthiest looking one, and that's going to be your cane for your next year. So what we're going to do now is cut out, and I've actually done it to the back 4. I've got to do these 2 up here. I've got to cut down this year's vine and remove it, and then I'm going to show you how to cut down and prune to tame next year's vine. So let's walk over here and I'll show you. Okay, so you see in this pot we've got a lot going on. There's a lot of vines and such coming up, because a lot of the canes, like these new canes, will produce from extra roots that are down in the ground. So what you can actually do if you want to create more blackberry plants is you can actually take these canes out and you can separate them into another area, or plant them, in another spot, and you can actually have more blackberry vines. But you only want to keep one in close proximity, usually between 4 to 6 feet of each other, so that way it doesn't strip the nutrients from the other plants. But this one, as you can see, there's a bunch of different vines here, and as I'm looking around, this vine right here is really dark brown. It's like a dead brown. So this is the plant from this year that I'm actually going to cut out, and the other 4 that are in here are actually the canes that grew this summer. So I'm going to cut the dead one out right here. Just go down to the bottom, and you're just going to just cut it off flat. You don't want to pull it, because that will disturb the roots, and you don't want to harm the roots of your plant that's growing. Okay, so now we've got that one out of the way. Now this one right here is this year's stalk, but it's probably 30 foot long because I hadn't got out here to prune it up. There are vines that are coming down here that are already a good 8 to 10 feet, and if they do touch the ground, they can root. Now if they do root, you can actually cut that section off, and where those roots are, go ahead and plant them, and they'll make you a new plant. There's so much you can do with these plants, but to keep them tame and keep them from being too bushy, this is what we're going to do. Now these bottom limbs down here that are like really low down here, I'm going to go ahead and cut them off. I'm not going to let this actually start vining until it's probably a couple of feet high or up above the ground. This right here will probably be my first vine right here, and it's a couple of feet from the actual dirt. So what I'm going to do And there's another blackberry plant in here starting. There's another one right there. So I'm gonna go ahead and cut this off down here at the bottom. And I'm just gonna cut it flush to the plant. All right, my assistant's gonna help me on the other side. He's gonna help me pull it out. But if you want, you can go ahead and bury what you cut off here. You can bury this up to about a foot deep, and it will actually make roots. Okay, so now what I was saying is there are other there's other vines in here that we can actually either keep or go ahead and discard. I'm actually not going to worry about it because, like I said, we're fixing to move, and this is just a video to show you guys on just the strategy of pruning. So we're not going to worry about all of these. Let's focus on this one right here because this is my main plant for next year. And they already have the limbs growing out, and that is okay. That is 100% okay because we're going to fix those to where they're a little more maintainable. Okay, sorry, it's kind of bright out here where it is. The sun is like right there. Okay, so this right here is the main plant that I'm keeping for next year. Now you see it goes, well, you can't see, but it goes all the way up, and it actually ends up right here. So it's went up and over and all the way around. And no, you guys, you do not have to grow blackberries on these cattle panels. This was actually here because we did pole beans one year, and that year that I moved the blackberries out, I just put them over here just so I could tie them up to support them since it was such fresh dirt in the mineral buckets. But they are not going to be on cattle panels whenever we move. We're actually going to take them down after I get through showing you guys this. So this right here, what we want, the main stem, we only want it about 6 to 8 foot tall. That'll be something that's manageable, and you may even want it shorter. That way you have more limbs, because all of your limbs are going to come out right here, these little buds. They're going to come out right there in the springtime, and that's what's going to make all of your vines and stuff for next year. So you can go through here and pull off all the little dead ones, and then as this come out of dormancy next year, it's going to create all of your limbs. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and cut this down, and I'm going to see if Logan will help me here. Got those? Okay, I'm going to let you go right over here. Okay, so here's this vine right here, and this is actually a limb. This is one of the limbs coming off of it. Let me see if I can back you guys up a little bit. You can see a little bit more of it. Okay, yes. All right, so here is our main branch. Now, Logan, I want you to cut it off right up here. I kind of go to where the little buds kind of stop forming, and I keep it between 6 to 8 feet. So yeah, just right in there. Go ahead and cut that off right above that bud. Above? And I like to cut right above that bud so it kind of stops it right there at that limb, and it doesn't leave just a dead area. Yeah, go ahead and cut it off. There we go. Okay. All right, so here's our new vine. And these limbs right here is what we're going to maintain, to cut off. You want your limbs here, I keep mine about 2 or 3 feet long, just because they are going to keep producing. All of these little leaves right here are actually going to make out new limbs in the springtime. So let's go ahead and we'll cut these off and get it a little more manageable. Over here. All right, just cut it off right there. That has nothing to do with it, just squeeze. Ow.
What, did I cut you?
It popped me in the mouth. Okay. I don't know where that's coming from. Okay, this one right here, just cut it off.
From that one.
Okay, cut it off. All right, pull that out. All right, that one's done. So see, we've got one main stalk here, and we've got the limbs that are sticking out. These other ones, I'm probably just going to cut back really, really short and just let them stay in the bucket. So that way, whenever I get over there, I'll go ahead and have more blackberries. All right, so let's let's move over here because I have one that I've already pruned, and I want you to see how I actually pruned it and how it kept growing. So it's going to be like a constant maintenance for a few months until it absolutely gets too cold for it to grow. All right, guys, so right here I've actually already pruned this bush. This is the main stalk right here, and it's actually coming out beside the pot. It made a root underneath the pot, and it's actually coming out beside it. But this is the main stalk here, and this right here is the top. I cut it off right here. All of these limbs I pruned off to, like I said, 2 feet or so. Now they have actually put on new limbs. Let me show you. So right here where I have pruned them off, you can see right there, I cut it off right there. It actually put out new limbs. So what you can do is you can actually cut these limbs off and just leave the main one here, or you can trim these. But you've got to understand that they will continue to grow. So I don't want you to just get overwhelmed with all these vines and stuff just running everywhere. So what we are going to do is we're actually going to cut these off. And again, you can root these. You can go ahead and put this in that you cut off in the dirt, and it will continue to root. All right, so go ahead and cut this off. Right up here. Yeah, cut it off up there. Yep. But I'm not going to take them with me because I got more plants over there. So we're just going to cut these off and getting them down and maintainable for the move. Right here. Yeah. Yeah, we're just going to cut it off right there. All right, and just about all of these have done it. Yeah, right here. See, they just keep growing. Yeah, so cut that off. All right, and you may have to come out here and do this a couple of times until it, gets cold enough where it's not going to grow. Go ahead and cut those couple off down there. Morning Glory is growing in here. This one and this one. Yep. So anyways, we're just going to work on these and get them manageable, and then we're going to get them movable. So like I said, they're not going to be 6 or 8 feet tall. The next time you see these, they're going to be probably 2 to 3 foot tall. But I wanted to bring you guys over here and show you, because this is what they look like, and I've already pruned them. So we've got to go back through here and get these ready to move. But that is how you maintain blackberry plants on a yearly basis in the fall to get them ready for the next season. So don't be overwhelmed. Don't let them get big and bushy because they'll produce less. But these are, I have no clue what variety these are because I always get them from my dad. And since they grow back every year, you don't have to keep buying them. But they are a thornless bush, and like I said, I don't know what variety. I grew up on these blackberries. They're the same ones that I've had all my life, so I don't have a clue what variety they are, and neither does my dad. But anyways, we're going to go ahead and get this finished up, and I hope this helps you guys to get to where you can manage your blackberries a little bit more and keep them not so wild, but not so compact, and don't let them get away from you. So that way you understand, the production of the stem from next year, what to do with this year's stem, and all of that good stuff. So if you want to, you can go back and look at my old video. So that way you'll be able to see kind of, I think I've got it in just a little bit closer realm where you can see it. I may explain a little bit more. It was like 2 or 3 years ago. I really don't remember what I said. But you can go back and watch that one and see how much difference the videos are now. Just as a little funny. But we're visiting to get to work and get these ready to go to the new homestead. And we will see you then. Talk to you later. Bye.
Bye.